Thank you, everyone. Welcome to the Art of Learning Self-Love. I am Darla Williams, and today's session is on, the title for today is You Are Worth Celebrating. And I want you to really take a moment and listen to those words. You are worth celebrating. What is going on in your world right now that makes you feel a little separated from that? And how can we tune back in to being able to celebrate ourselves and our own personal worth? No matter the situations and the circumstances outside of us, those things don't really matter. What matters is what's going on the inside, what the inner dialogue is, what's going on the situations that are you building yourself or are you tearing yourself down? Most of the time, most of us are too busy getting caught up in the details of life that we're not tuning back inward. So the affirmation of the day is I breathe in healing and exhale hurt and pain. I find that today that the universe is sort of handing me a little bit of my own teaching because I'm going through my own personal experience right now that is really painful. So one of the things that I do most frequently when I get in a circumstance is I breathe in the healing of my life and I exhale what isn't serving my highest good. So when I'm dealing with the circumstances and the situations around me, I can actually recalibrate myself by my very breath. So the affirmation of the day is I breathe in healing and exhale hurt and pain. So if you need to write that down for yourself so that you can remember to come back to it, definitely do.
Yes.
And while Ava, I'll go ahead and repeat that for you. When you're ready, let me know.
I breathe in healing and breathe out pain and hurt.
I exhale hurt and pain.
And I exhale. Okay.
So we're breathing in and exhaling. Breathing in what we need and exhaling what we don't. This actually is a great way for us when we're dealing with circumstances and situations around us that are causing pressures or causing resistance or causing us to not be where we need to go or able to function well enough to get where we need to go. This very tool has been one I've used over and over and over in my life to put me in a place where I can actually think instead of being swimming in the overwhelming thoughts. It allows me to get a focus. It is a form of healing. It's a form of tuning in. It's a meditation. And it's been used for centuries. Breath work has been something that has been discovered long ago. When we think about it scripturally, if you look at the Bible, it talks about that God breathed life into us.
Yes.
The very breath is the essence of God itself, living within us. If right now my spirit pulled up out of the top of me, what would happen? This flesh tent, this avatar self, would fall down dead. But the essence, my energy source, my matter, the part of me that matters, is only connected to source and was deposited into me so that I could live in this experience around me. So how do we begin when we're dealing with circumstances and situations? How do we turn back in to celebrating ourselves when we're in the situation? Now, it's coming into learning and identifying. It's taking the steps to build it and understand. So for myself, one of the things I do to celebrate me is I go take photos. I go
Wow.
and I find the most beautiful places to photograph because it allows me to tune in and realize that the beauty that is
Yeah.
surrounding me is honestly what's still in me, regardless of my circumstance. The,
Yeah.
that what I can see is truly me. A lot of times we get caught up in a story. We get caught up in the thoughts. We get caught up in the details of things that don't allow us to release. And that's when I realized that the very breath, the essence of God itself coming in and leaving and coming back is the only true thing that I could connect with no matter what I was dealing with around me. I had to get so fine tuned that nothing can do this again,
Yeah. Yeah.
but allows me to restore and bloom into all that I'm meant to be. One of my favorite poems, which is unknown to me at the time when I wrote it, I am not sure who is the author, and I would love to give credit. I know that it was written in the late 1800s, and it's a poem called Don't Quit. So I'm going to
Hmm.
recite that right now and talk about this a little bit because this poem was one of those pieces that came into my life that helped me to keep going at a lot of different pivotal points when life was devastating. This is what kept me going. Don't quit. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're treading seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile, but you have to sigh. When care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Life is queer with its twists and turns, as every one of us sometimes learns. And many a person turns about when they might have won had they stuck it out. Don't give up, though the pace seems slow. You may succeed with another blow. Often the struggler has given up when he might have captured the victor's cup. And he learned too late when the night came down how close he was to the golden crown. Success is failure turned inside out. So stick to the fight when your hardest hit. It's when things seem worse that you mustn't quit. That is probably the most liberating poem that anyone can actually get to understand. Life has hit me many times, and it has tore me down and left me in the ruins of my life more times than I can count. But I am so grateful that what was deposited into my essence and my core was a flaming fire of love and passion for people. Doesn't matter what they do to me. What matters is how I respond. I can choose to react and be just as much in the mess, or I can choose to forgive and lay it to rest. I choose to lay it to rest every time. One of the scriptures for me was in the Bible, it talked about to forgive is to, so say it's seven times 77 times is what you're to forgive. In that scripture, what that scripture is referencing is at a point, it says, if you have been struck, to forgive. to turn the other cheek and give an opportunity to completely release and not hold another accountable. However, if it is done again, you have to walk away. It's not out of hurt, it's forgiving them and allowing yourself to be freed from the collateral damages.
Yeah.
So you just release and you walk away. It is one of the hardest tools to actually practice because our mind wants to be in one place while our heart is in another. The mind knows what's not acceptable, but the heart wants to hold to the memory. One of the bravest things I ever did was leave. I stood up. I chose to love another person, but I chose to love myself more. Love is truly the master's key. Go ahead, Ava.
No, I just wanted to say that I think I left because I want to protect myself. At the time, I didn't think that I was going to love myself more. I wanted to protect myself. And yeah, so it was for my safety of mind and heart. And yeah.
But truly what it is it's you realizing that you love yourself. Even
Yes,
though they
probably,
love the
yes, yes.
situation.
Yes, probably this was love, but I didn't think about it in terms of love. Yes, but it's true. Yes, yes, I chose to protect myself.
So one of the things today's session is about is taking time to celebrate how amazing you really are just being you. Just being you. Nothing spectacular, nothing that you went out of your way to do, but just the very essence of you getting up and beginning a day. Hi, here I am. I'm in this world today. How do
Yes.
we celebrate that? Just the here and now and who we are. As I was saying in the beginning, mine is for going out and capturing beautiful photos, capturing everything that I can see that is just so majestic to me.
Yes.
Because it allows me to tune in. It allows me to tune into this present moment. No longer looking this way or that way or falling back to the wayside or where I'm going next, but truly tuning in and celebrating and giving ourselves life more abundantly that we deserve because that's who we are from the foundations of creation. If we are whole and complete from the foundations of creation, the story itself is what gets us out of alignment. So how do we pull back and celebrate the fact that we are one with Source? And that is the true celebration of realizing how truly connected on the inner dynamics that we really are. Not only am I connected to Source, but I'm connected to you, Ava. I'm connected to the world. At any given moment, when I come into that proper alignment, I can truly then allow myself to heal. No matter what the pain body is, like the affirmation, I breathe in healing and I exhale the hurt and pain. So life has a lot of pain stories. We can come back and we can visit those stories a bazillion times and go, oh, you know what? This happened to me. Oh, that happened to me. Oh, let me go tell you about this one over here too. We all have these stories and we have 1,000 of them or tens of thousands of them that we could go back and revisit anytime that we want. But the true key to real healing and restoration and the development of ourselves is being able to lay those down and live in the here and now. If I tune into this very second, no matter what my story is that's going on, at this moment, am I perfectly okay? Yeah, there ain't nothing happening to me right this minute, and my whole world is absolutely wonderful. I'm the little star of my own little show right now. At
Yes.
this moment, it's absolute brilliance and it's beautiful. But am I celebrating that beauty of what I really have in my life at this moment? Or am I too stuck up here thinking about all the stuff that was happening? How am I tuning in and celebrating me and my own victory of being just me?
Yeah.
We're worth celebrating because we are incredible individuals. And we have victory after victory after victory of our life.
Yeah.
Because no matter what we've endured, we're literally, if we're sitting right here, right now, we have 100% survived it all.
Yeah. We have. Most certainly have.
It's something to celebrate.
That's so true. But you know, I have been telling people to celebrate themselves so many times. But when it came to me celebrating myself, I wouldn't know how to do it. It's really strange for me because, as I told you last time, you know, I do appreciate myself in so many ways. And I think on the whole, if I knew somebody like me, somebody else, you know, I probably would be pleased to know this person. But celebrating myself is something that I really will need to.
I want you to practice. I want you to practice celebrating you.
I will have.
I'm giving you permission to go celebrate you, because that is the most liberating. It's very liberating. It's a freedom. It literally like takes and puts the wings, you know, the wind beneath my wings. So as the eagle like takes off and flies above it all.
Oh, yeah.
And looks down and just waits for the storm to settle. Flying up there in that highest of heights and just looking down upon it all and saying, okay, I'm going to celebrate me. I'm going to honor me. We can all honor each other easily. I can go and point out 1,000 things that are wonderful about another soul.
It's very easy. Yeah.
And we all try to make sure that we're always empowering those around us.
Yeah.
But the one part is most of us forget to empower ourselves. I can remember forever, I used to be the one that used to say all the time, over and over again in relationships, why can't you just tell me what I'm doing that makes you love me, blah, blah, blah. I remember begging people. And I remember the one time that somebody turned to me and said, well, what do you really need? And I said, I don't know. When I didn't know, I realized there was a problem. I was given the opportunity to really tell somebody, and I couldn't.
Yeah.
And that was where I discovered there was a problem that went deeper. And that was where I started diving in to do what I do today. I didn't realize 7 years ago, well, now 8, 9, almost 9 years ago. It was almost 9 years ago. I had no idea when that question came to me what I was on the verge of discovering. I had no idea that I was going to sit with myself and start this process of the art of learning self-love. I literally began day one, I'm going to give myself an affirmation. I walked this. Everything that I'm teaching everyone is what I did for me to discover myself. And it took a couple different tries to discover it until I could perfect it for me. And then I realized it transformed me so much that I chose to go and find 25 individuals around the world and ask them to beta test it, to practice, to see if it helped other people. And I wanted to take notes from all of them so that I could see how it was actually changing the inner dynamics of the mind with other people, and whether or not it was just me that it was going to work with, or if it was going to work with all of them. And I chose people who were really damaged, just like me. I chose people who had had the worst case life stories that the system chose to give up on. Here's a check. We'll send in services that assist you. We don't expect you to grow. We don't expect you to develop. It's okay. This is just how it is. No, it's not okay. It doesn't matter how grim your story is. You have a potential and you have a light within you, and you have a right to actually heal. And no matter how hard that walk is, somebody has to have the passion for it. And that's what I decided I wanted to do more than anything else, to go find those who were wounded, those who were left barren, those who had no idea how to actually grow or develop because they were never given the fundamental tools to actually begin becoming anything more than a statistic. That broke my heart, to be told I was one of the statistics, and there was it. I don't understand why you're not broken in the middle of the floor, Darla. You should be a ball of mess in the middle of my floor. No, I shouldn't.
No.
And that was
Really? Somebody said that?
I had a counselor who told me that. I can't believe you're not just a mess in the middle of my floor. That's what the statistics are for you. You should not be able to do this. And I said, let me change that for the whole world. Let me be the one. I'll stand up bright. I'll shine, because I know that there's a way. I know that there's truth, and that all are equally accessible to it. So I chose to begin developing it for everyone and showing people the way out of themselves. Because we take our circumstances and our situations and we literally implode on the inside. We literally become a fragment of a story. Now, how do? We go back in, we go through that fragmented parts, and we pull it all back together. And we restore it, and we regrow it. It doesn't matter whether or not the whole brain pan fell out and shattered all over. Now we just rediscover who we want to be after it. And we take the steps to make that possible. So what I want to do right here is I want to take a moment, and I want to go ahead and I want to ask you, Ava, is there anything in your life ever throughout it all that you still hold? You don't have to tell me it, but I want you to think about that thing that hurts, that pain of that loss, or that pain of that circumstance, that storyline for you, because we all have a storyline. Something that wounds us to the very core of who we are, that makes us feel like we just can't breathe.
Well, I have done a lot of work, and what I have been doing, I will tell you in a moment what it is. What I do, I send love to those people on a regular basis. But when I think about I'm talking about my sister, this still is the kind of hurt that, well, and she died. She died a couple of years ago. But Yeah.
So what I want to do right now is I want to take you for a second.
Yeah.
And what I want to do is I want to go ahead. Well, you already did a little bit of that breathing in and out, but I'm not going to go there. I want to just go right into the fountain. This is a tool that I was given through the dream, through a dream, and I've been using it. I have an audio of it. If anybody out there is listening to the recording, I want you to know all you got to do is DM me on Messenger, and I will definitely get a recording to you so that you can redo this whenever you need to. What it is I was given an opportunity to go into what was, at the time, I thought it was heaven. I thought I was walking through the gates of heaven, and I was going through the mansion, and I was taken to a room, and that was my interpretation at the time because of my understanding. But later I was enlightened and realized out of that I was walking through the Akashic records. The whole room was nothing but books of every detail of every life, and especially every detail of mine. And there was an area that was under construction, and I wanted to go to the construction, and I was diverted by an angel that was enormous that looked just like me. So I was seeing my angelic version of myself in the Akashic records protecting my own story, and was told I could not go to that part because it was in development. I was still alive. My story was still being written. So I got taken down a corridor and pushed off into what was like a bubble. And then I was blown through all these different twisting, turning ways. And I was just in this bubble. And I landed on a space where I was then put onto grass in front of two gates. The gates were flashing closed and opening like an X in front of me. As the gates rolled shut, they lit up and then they would open. And they did it 3 times, and I snuck in on the 3rd time, and I walked through a garden that was so beautiful. And in the center of this garden was a fountain. There were angels that were coming from all different directions, from itty bitty all the way to enormous, bigger than bigger than the Empire State Building, large. It was massive. And from this fountain flowed a light water that cascaded down through the tiers of this fountain. I was tucked away behind a tree looking as these angels were coming through that had been through battle, and they were being washed off. And this little bitty, tiny, what looked like a little fairy creature went running up to the fountain going, "Did you know? Did you know? Did you know? There's somebody here. There's somebody here," and was reporting that I was there. And I heard this big booming voice that said, "Yes, don't you think I invited her already? I'm all knowing. I'm aware. Come into the fountain for your healing, Darla. It is your time." And 2 hands reached out and took mine and pulled me up into this fountain. And I was able to wash in and literally have this flowing that comes down over me, down into the crown, through my entire system, and then pushed everything down into the ground. The lights come back up, the waters come up and comes back up and completely restores my body and goes back into the heavens. And I was told at that time, when it was time, that I would be given this permission to do this in the world. So now I do this. This is not my healing. This is from Source. I just happen to be the one that he invested this in to give to others. So what I want to take this story, Ava, this one that hurts so much about your sister, and I want you to receive your healing today, because you don't have to carry that pain anymore. You don't have to carry that story. And I just want you to go ahead and just sit back in your seat. I want you to take in a deep cleansing breath in and exhale. And I'm going to paint the picture for you as we walk into the garden. So I'm going to start at the gates, and we're going to walk in together. So just close your eyes and just let me lead the way. So Ava, right now, you and I are standing before the gates of the garden. In this place right here, we can see that the gates are closed and the lights have turned on, and they open and roll back. We can see inside the garden, but it's not time yet because the gates are closing again and lighting up. The white light is illuminating so bright, but it's starting to bring you to a place where you feel like you're starting to be invited in to the garden as they pull back and open up. Again, they close and roll back. This time, you can step in. You feel that drawing inside your heart coming in onto the path. You see to the right that there are tall grass blades up even to your knees, ebbing and flowing to and fro, back and forth, off into the distance. You see that there's a fountain, but there's a path that you're on. Sprinkled across those tall black grass blades are flowers of every type, all the wild flowers you've seen throughout your life, sprinkling across the top, ebbing and flowing to and fro. As you begin walking along this path, you see to the left, you can see the trees and the brush and all the other things. You can even see some birds floating back and flying back into the tree line. And you can see the butterfly as it's going across your path and lighting on each one of those little flowers along the way. As you continue on, you continue walking along this path, you see a bench to your right. If there's anyone there, receive your message. It'll speak into your heart. You'll just have a knowing. If there's a message for you, receive. When you're through, you're going to turn to the left. And to the left is this enormous fountain that is much grander than anything you've ever seen. That you're standing in complete awe within, knowing that this is your time for your healing. I want you to go ahead and imagine yourself being able to step up, and down into the basin. As you step into the basin, you feel these waters that are splashing down into the basin, swirling around your feet and around your calves and your shins and up into your knees. And as it gets there, it stops. As the waters are flowing down, cascading in front of you, you feel an invite now that you can step forward and into this. As the waters come cascading down and the light comes down and shimmers over the top of you, your mind and your crown begin to open, allowing what's flowing over you to flow within. Bringing it into the third eye, illuminating, opening it up, bringing in the storyline, all of this pain from the loss and the grief and the hurt that you felt when you lost your sister, that doesn't allow for you to feel completely at peace. I want now for that story to be pulled up and pulled into a circling ball within the mind's eye, bringing it together, bringing it around in a circle, continuing to flow nonstop, going and pulling it around into a circle, no longer allowing the effects of the pain to affect you, but knowing that you can keep your story, allowing that the residual effects from the loss to be diminished, and restoring you with love, peace, and joy. Bringing this down into our throat, continuing this circling ball, allowing this to bring up any storylines that you've spoken over yourself or others, that those lines that you've repeated that others have spoken over you, and the story of the pain body that continues about this situation. We're going to pull this up and accumulate it all. and bringing us back to the wholeness and the completion of who we are from the foundations of creation. Bringing this down and now pixelating it out, down through the arms, into the fingertips, and back up into the heart center, reformulating and recalibrating, bringing it in to bring restoration, healing power from the foundations of creation. Allowing your heart for this flow to go pressing down through it like a mighty rushing waterfall, removing anything that is no longer serving your highest good, allowing you to bring it back to peace, healing, love, down into the solar plex, right in the stomach where it feels so tight, where the story has just laid in your stomach for so long. We're going to go ahead and just gather that up, removing those stones, allowing you to truly find peace in the story, allowing you to be restored, and allowing that flow to continue pressing down, down, down into the solar plexus, into the sacral, like a mighty, mighty rushing waterfall down through the sacral, giving you back your peace, no longer allowing the patterns to keep you pent up, no longer having to go back to the storyline that hurts, but to the memories that bring joy, down into the root of your very being, bringing a cleansing, restoring life into your root. You may even see red for a moment as it pierces through, bringing it down through the thighs, into the calves, into the soles of your feet, and down, down, down into the ground as far away from you as possible, taking this all the way down into the core of Mother Gaia, allowing it to be deposited, no longer allowing it to affect us, bringing just back the white light and the waters of healing restoration power, coming back in through the toes, into the soles of your feet, up through the calves, and the shins, up around into your knees and into your thighs, back up into the root of your very being. But this time we're going to bring this back up through the spinal column, all the way back up into the brainstem, bringing healing, restoration throughout the body, through all your systems. Bringing it around to the frontal cortex of the mind, allowing your mind to be recalibrated, bringing you back to balance, bringing you to peace, bringing you to love, love everlasting. I want you to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. When you're ready, want it to go ahead back out through the third eye, out through the crown, and back into the heavenlies. Let's thank our guides, our spirit guides, and everything else along the way. Thank you, Source, for your healing restoration power from above, so below. So it is. Thank you. When you're ready, go ahead and wiggle your fingers and your toes. Go ahead and allow your eyes to move back and forth. And when you're ready, open your eyes.
Oh, wow. That was wonderful, Carla. Really amazing.
That's an amazing gift. It's not mine. It's just a gift that I get to walk us through. It's beautiful. And that's where I got my healing.
That's how you got your healing.
And why I'm able to always recover. I'm going to go ahead and anybody else out there, like, subscribe, join me in your Veda. Thank you so much for being here and hearing the recording.